Well, four of the federal party leaders went toe-to-toe last night in the first French language debate of this election campaign. Here's some of the highlights.
80% de tous les Canadiens ont fait leur job.
Now, 80% of Canadians did their job, they got vaccinated, and now people are saying that because 20% did not get vaccinated in the middle of a fourth wave, there's no more democracy and no room for an election. What we're hearing here, it's all the same thing. Both of them voted for a private system. You know, the reasoning of the Liberals is that they're going to invest in Trans Mountain, take the money from Trans Mountain in order to lower emissions. That's ridiculous. You don't say to someone, listen, we're going to fix your broken leg by breaking the other one. Your approach is always that Ottawa knows best. The provinces need a partner, not father knows best.
The debate was broadcast live in Quebec. Now, Quebec really is a province that could well decide who is Canada's next prime minister. A lot of seats in that province. CBC's poll tracker still has Trudeau and the Liberals ahead of other parties in Quebec, but the margin is certainly narrowed. Zita De Koninck is a professor emeritus in languages and applied linguistics at Université Laval, and she is in Quebec City this evening. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining the program.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I wanted to start just to get your impressions on how Liberal leader Justin Trudeau did last night. And first, we'll just play a clip of him addressing the Conservative leader Erin O'Toole in the debate.
80% de tous les Canadiens ont fait leur job, ont fait leur part, se sont fait vacciner. Et là, on est en train de dire que parce que 20% n'ont pas choisi de se faire vacciner et sont dans une quatrième vague, on ne peut pas avoir de démocratie,
on a reçu les vaccins 4 mois après les États-Unis.
All right. Your thoughts based on what you're hearing there, but what you saw over the course of the evening.
Yeah, well, I think Justin Trudeau showed a good performance. He was raised bilingual, but he's very fluent in French, and his discourse is straightforward. He really was addressing the Canadians and trying to convince a broad voting pool. And I think he was the one that was more trying to get the whole Canada involved in his speech. He was very clear in his presentation, expressing goals, recalling achievements during the mandate, and this on various topics. For example, talking about the pandemic, he was clear and in general was relying on what the Liberals did. And he could be followed very easily in French, because my point of view, my comments is, how did the native speakers listen to the four candidates?
Yeah, and I think that's so critical. It's not just the words that are being used, but the way in which they're spoken and whether you feel you can relate to somebody. And to that end, Erin O'Toole, the Conservative leader, would have come into the evening at something of a disadvantage, only because his language skills are not the same. He started as an Anglophone. Let's take a listen to Erin O'Toole addressing the Liberal leader.
Pourquoi M. Trudeau a une approche de Ottawa, c'est tout. Ottawa, c'est tout. Les provinces ont besoin d'un partenaire, pas un papa à Ottawa.
He spent a lot of time preparing, spent the entire day just with reportedly his French-speaking campaign crew. Do you think he resonated with Quebecers in his use of French?
Well, I think his speech was very telegraphic. It's clear he was prepared, and he probably had memorized a number of simple sentences for each topic. He was coordinating clauses or sentences, but rarely subordinating them. That means the rhetoric was not there. So he was okay when he was, presenting, but when he was asked to debate, then there was his speech skills really lowered down.
Yeah, I take your point.
I think people could listen to him, but they needed to pay attention because there's a lot of lack of information in his discourse. And also, especially towards the end of the debate, probably because he was tired, then a lot of morphology was interrupting and irritating. So the message could pass, but you had to keep, willing to listen to him.
Okay, so let's go now to the NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, and here he is addressing the issue of private health care.
Je veux dire clairement, ce qu'on voit ici, blanc bonnet, bonnet blanc. Les deux ont voté pour un système privé. On a proposé une motion pour enlever les profits dans les centres de soins de longue durée. M. Trudeau et M. O'Toole ont voté pour un système privé. C'est clair, ce n'est pas une question hypothétique, on a la preuve.
On a la preuve. Okay, Singh also hoping to regain some seats there in Quebec. How do you think his performance will help him do that?
Well, I think we're probably more, we heard him more often than we heard O'Toole. And I think Jagmeet Singh is fluent in French, and he has a very elaborate speech. His discourse is cohesive and showing his mastery of subordinating conjunctions. So I think he really conveys messages that are linked to the values of the party. So if you're willing to reflect on those values, then you can follow him. Mm-hmm. So I think he's a bit higher in his proposition of reflection than O'Toole managed to get to.
Okay, so let me go to Bloc leader Yves-François Blanchet, who went in as the front runner in some ways, just in terms of the debate. Let's take a listen to him.
Est-ce que le gouvernement du Québec va avoir les 6 milliards de dollars sans condition qui, non seulement sur le sans condition, est à peu près historique, mais c'est une somme absolument essentielle et due au Québec. Est-ce que vous allez respecter ça dans votre contrat ou est-ce que les conservateurs sont une prothèse au Québec? Il n'y a pas de sang qui...
Blanchet has had a very difficult week on the campaign trail and losing some support there, but his command of the French language and his message certainly has resonated in the past. Do you think he won last night?
Well, in terms of rhetoric, he was the one that stood out. It's clear, it's obvious to me. His delivery of speech was very rapid, and even native speakers would need to concentrate on his argumentation to be able to follow. But he was very convincing that he could handle any topic. And I think he was ready for a tough debate, and it is quite obvious that he had mastered the language tools to conduct it. But, they had to, there were turns, but I think he could have taken the lead. He did take the lead many times. And for example, when he was speaking of health-related expenses, his argumentation was very abstract, but very strong. Mm-hmm. So how did native speaker react to that? They probably felt in confidence with him because, like O'Toole would have very, I would say his arguments were not evident or made accessible. Mm.
All right. Thank you for your analysis, Zita De Koninck. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.